Hi there. I don't normally do this in a video, but it'd be really great if you could share this with anybody else who rides motorbikes. There's a lot of safety information in here which might be of interest. Some stuff that I certainly didn't know before I started researching it. And there's going to be some tables I'll show during the video, and I will leave the tables up at the end of the video should you want to go and have a look at them in a bit more detail. Save you pausing. Anyway, what's this about? So it's about motorcycle clothing. Now, all of the data I've got is from ChatGPT, which you may be a fan of or not a fan of, but it only draws the sort of purest data from the internet and just does calculations based on some rudimentary assumptions. This video was inspired to me by something I've always thought in the hot weather we've had over the last couple of weeks, but I've been thinking of it for years, and it was I'd rather be too hot than have a skin graft. So I always try to wear reasonable amount of protective clothing regardless of the weather. And most of my gear is probably AA rated. Now last week 2 instances happened which really made me think about what choices people are making and the potential impact of those choices. Now I was in the middle lane of the motorway and I was overtaken by a guy who was doing the same speed limit as me, which is interesting. He went past me and he was wearing trainers, shorts and a vest. And all I could think, if he comes off, he is going to be a smudge on the M5. Then 2 days later, there was another guy who overtook me doing the speed limit that I was on the motorway, and he was wearing normal jeans, trainers and a t-shirt. Again, you're going to be a smudge. And a bit of me, sort of my heart sinks when I see people wearing those sort of gear. I know I did it when I was younger, and I know I'm guilty as most of riding, let's say, with a purpose, which I know I shouldn't do. Anyway, so I went into ChatGPT and I asked it a question and to build some tables based on some assumptions. Now, there's a nuance to these, I'm sure, and people could dig into it, but even if these are only 80% correct, it should make you think. Right, so I'm going to share my screen now and put some stuff up on the screen to show you the questions I've asked it, the assumptions it's made, and then show you each table. So, again, if you know anybody that rides a bike who perhaps doesn't wear the gear they should wear, please share this. Thank you. Right, so I asked ChatGPT to create a table of how far you would slide if you came off a motorbike at 10 miles an hour, and then increasing increments of 10 miles an hour on the chance of survival at each increment. Assume it's a summer's day with good road and riding conditions, and the person riding is 82 kilos, so 13 stone, and the only protective clothing they're wearing is a helmet. Also, add a column showing the likely injuries that would be suffered. So, as you can see here, ChatGPT's come back to me, reiterating my question that they're only wearing a helmet, they're not wearing any other protective clothing, and the assumptions. So, you can see the assumptions there, and it gives me a little bit of maths you can see here. Right, so this is only wearing a helmet. I won't talk through it at great detail, but I'll leave it up on the screen, and some highlights that stick out for me. That over 40 mile an hour, let's say, with only wearing a helmet as your protective clothing, your survival chance drops below 50% at over 40 mile an hour. I know it's not shown there, but 40 at 55% and 50 at 40%. Now that makes you think, right? That's going to the shops. Oh, I'm just popping to the shop, but I won't get all my gear on. Well, if you crash at 40, 50 mile an hour, you're going to have a lot of problems. Now, so on the basis of that, I said, okay, as we all know, we have single A, double A and triple A rated safety clothing. What does that look like? And here we are with the single A rated clothing. Now, the survival chance of less than 50% is now above 60 miles an hour. So a bit better, but still pretty serious. Again, you'll buy single A rated clothing and think you're quite safe, but motorway speeds, 40% chance of survival. Not good news. Next category, double A rated. Now, between 60 and 70 miles an hour is the less than 50% of survival. Now, that makes me think, if I'm wearing AA stuff, which I felt was quite good, maybe I need to think about what I'm wearing, because I don't feel confident as I would. Yes, and this is not about necessarily riding like a lunatic or going too fast, but 60 mile an hour is a speed that we all might do on any given A road. 55% chance of survival. And a sliding, now that's assuming you haven't hit a lamppost or a curb or a car. You're sliding for 51 meters. Now lastly, AAA rated. Now your odds do increase. So we're over 70 mile an hour when your chance of survival dips below 50%. So motorway speed. But when was the last time you did 80 or 90 mile an hour on the motorway? At that speed, you're sliding along the road for 100 meters. So even if you've got AAA rated clothing on, at 80 miles an hour, life-threatening injuries, severe fractures, and significant internal injuries. It does make you think. It's a really depressing topic, this, but something we all sort of ignore. I'll be fine. I'm just going here. Oh yeah, I won't drive quick, or whatever it happens to be. So the last table I'm going to show you here, which I'll put at the end again, all these tables are up at the end if you want to see them, is as a comparison where the results diverge depending on the category of clothing you're wearing. Again, if these numbers aren't absolutely accurate, because it depends on multiple factors, if they're 90 or 80% correct, how we all ride and what we wear should fundamentally change. Now, the thing that I would take from this, there is literally no reason anybody should get on a motorcycle or moped or scooter without at least AA rated clothing on, regardless of how far you're going and regardless of how hot it is. Because if you're not, and you do hit any higher speeds, or you hit an implement, the chances are you're probably going to die. Anyway, again, for the last time, please share this to people that ride bikes. It's important information, and if you could hit subscribe, it'd be appreciated. Cheers.